Hello, and welcome to Always Typing's How to Write a Resume, a step-by-step guide. This guide is intended for people who are in entry-level jobs or up to mid-management jobs. If you're an executive or if you need a CV, a curriculum vitae, or if you need a federal resume, this guide isn't going to help you. You can visit my website at alwaystypingco.com to get more information on those other types of documents to further your career. If you're in an entry level position or all the way up to a mid management position, let's dive in and get started. The first thing to note as you begin writing your resume is that there is a lot of misinformation out there about what you should include and what you shouldn't include. So let's start with the contact information section. Do not put your contact information in a header or footer. It needs to be prominently displayed on the page because applicant tracking systems cannot read headers and footers. It's also no longer customary to include your entire address. There's actually been instances of discrimination against job seekers based on their address. So you only want to include your city, state, and zip. Now, it is important to include your zip code because hiring managers can query the ATS for resumes within a radius of a particular zip code. So if you don't have your zip code on your resume, you will not be included in the list of resumes that the hiring manager sees should they perform that search. What you need for your contact information is your name, and it should match across all of your documents, your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile. If you have lettered credentials that you want to include, go ahead and include those if they're relevant to your target career and you've already obtained them. If you're still working on them, include the information for the degree in your education section, but do not include the lettered credentials behind your name yet. After you've gotten your contact information perfected, it looks the way you want it to look. You can use colors, you can use a border to set it off from the rest of the resume. It's time to move on to the resume title. This should mirror the job description because, quite frankly, the hiring manager needs to know which position you're applying for. What if they have multiple positions open and they've got your resume and there's no title on it? They don't know what job you're applying to. So, first and foremost, it removes the hiring manager needs to read your mind aspect. But it also is the first opportunity for you to use keywords in your resume. So if the job description says that the company is hiring for a graphic designer, don't simply put graphic designer as your resume title. Put graphic designer who specializes in whatever you specialize in, make it a little sentence so that you can get some keywords on there. And the very first thing that the hiring manager sees on your resume is something that you specialize in or something that you're dedicated to. I don't know, maybe you're dedicated to using graphic design to increase user engagement. Whatever it is that makes you stand out from the crowd, build that into your resume title. Not too long ago, the first thing that you would see on a person's resume would be an objective. It would say something to the effect of seeking position in sales that will allow me to demonstrate skills and knowledge learned through experience and education. That doesn't really say anything. Now, every now and then they would throw in an adjective to try to make it sound even better, but they still don't say anything. Also, objectives have become, they've got this stigma around them now where it makes it look like the job seeker is just being selfish. Hey, this job is all about me and what I can get out of it. And that's just not the way that it needs to be. Resumes are supposed to be targeted marketing documents that demonstrate you're the best person for a position. And you do that by telling the company that you're applying to how you can serve them, how you're going to make the job better because you're the one that's in it, and how you can contribute to the team to make everything just work more smoothly. So you start doing that with a professional summary. It's a 3 to 5 sentence paragraph that shows you're the best person for the job. You're going to have a strong mix of hard and soft skills. Hard skills are things that you know based on education and experience. Soft skills are characteristics you have, personality traits that you have that make you really good at your job. And you also want to have at least one achievement. Now that you've begun to define some of your hard skills and soft skills, and you've got at least one achievement on your resume in your summary, it's time to move on to your skills, or what's more commonly referred to as core proficiencies. This is literally just a list of skills. It's usually bulleted. Sometimes they're separated with a vertical divider. There's not really a format that you're supposed to write them in. The only advice is to avoid using a table because applicant tracking systems can't read tables. They usually jumble the words up and things get all messed up and you can't really tell what was supposed to be said. So um, this skills section is what I call the beat the bots section. Your resume is most likely going to go through an applicant tracking system. And that applicant tracking system, in addition to scanning your resume for numbers of years of experience, education, it's also looking for relevant keywords. And when I say relevant keywords, I mean that you need to have keywords in your resume that mirror the job description. That's not to say you should copy and paste from the job description, but you need to make sure that the words on your resume say the same thing that the words on the job description do, because that's how the company is going to know you're a good fit for the position. So this core proficiency section, it should have between 9 and 12 skills. I have seen resumes that have as many as 25. Don't do that. If you get to a point where you're getting more than 12, you kind of have to cut it back a little bit because one, you don't want to be seen as doing something called keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing is where you just shove as much verbiage on your resume as you possibly can so that you can get past the applicant tracking system. A lot of people used to also put the job description, they would copy and paste the job description using white font into the footer. That's not going to fly anymore either. The applicant tracking system, these people that program those systems, they've programmed the system to read for that kind of stuff. So make sure that the skills and core proficiencies that you're including are relevant to the job that you want to apply to and actually match what it is that you know how to do. Anything that gets left off of your resume can be brought up in an interview. Remember, the resume is just meant to land you the interview. Now it's time to move into the meat part of your resume, the professional experience. This section shows the hiring managers what it is that you've done in the past and how what you've done in the past translates into something that will benefit them. So, when you're writing your professional experience section, you're only going to go back 10 or 15 years. Mostly because anything over 15 years old is not really relevant anymore. It's important because it helped shape you into the person you are now. But technologies change, processes change. So hiring managers, they'll look to see what you did back then to see if you've worked for some major company or you held some prestigious role. But outside of that, they don't really care that you were the marketing manager of mom and pop gas station when you were 2 years out of college. The more recent stuff is more important. Whenever you write the professional section, each role, Again, 10 to 15 years, and for each one, start with a little paragraph underneath you do the company name, the dates you were there, the position you held. Then you write a little paragraph. It's like 2 sentences that is a high-level overview of what you were responsible for doing. But not just what you were responsible for doing, what you actually did. In fact, I want you to take the words responsible for out of your vocabulary when it comes to writing your resume. There's not a single person in the world that cares what you were responsible to do. They only care what you actually did. If you think about it, there are a lot of people responsible for a lot of things that just don't get done. So don't put the words responsible for in your resume. Talk about what you did. So those first 2 sentences are supposed to be what you did, just a high level overview. And then you're going to use 3 to 5 bullets underneath those 2 first paragraph sentences. Those are going to be your achievements. And try to make them quantifiable achievements, meaning you're going to use a number. Increased sales by 23% in the 4th quarter of 2019 by developing new territory expansion plans. If you can't come up with a quantifiable, meaning number-based achievement, try to come up with a qualitative achievement, meaning it's not measured with a number, but it does show achievement. Like maybe you were singled out to do some higher level function that was outside of your job description. Include that, chosen by senior vice president to do whatever. Last but not least will be your education section. It's going to technically be called your education and credentials section. A lot of people will try to separate education from certifications and licenses, but you don't have to do that. You can create one section called education and credentials and put it all in one section. So you'll start with your degree, like Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Master of Science in Finance, whatever it is, spell it out, all of the acronyms. You can put the acronyms in parentheses, but spell it out first. Follow it by your school, the name of the school you went to. Again, spell out the acronym. We all refer to our college as NSU, LSU, whatever, but don't put that on your resume. Spell out the name. And then if you're still in school, you're going to want to put your expected graduation date. In fact, that's really the only time you need to put graduation dates. It's no longer customary to put the date that you graduated unless you're still in school or you've graduated within the last year. If you have any certifications or licenses, you can just skip down a line once you finish listing your education and list those licenses just beneath. You don't even have to separate them with a title. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. You can include them in this education and credentials section. And that is everything that you need to know in order to create an entry-level to mid-management type resume. The styling that we've used with the sections and in this order is called a reverse chronological resume. It's the traditional style that most employers expect to see when they've got a stack of resumes on their desk. I know that there is this trend towards more modern resumes that have columns and icons and graphs and charts, but I would really advise you to stay away from those because applicant tracking systems can't properly parse the information from those types of resumes. So you don't want your resume to be rejected simply because of formatting. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via instant messenger here on the social media platform or via email. The email address is resumes with an S at alwaystypingco.com. And again, you can visit the website and fill out the contact form there, whatever is more convenient or easy for you. I look forward to working with any of you. I look forward to any of the questions that you may have. And I'd like to wish you all the best of luck with your professional endeavors.